In the conventional scientific view of existence, of the universe, of Earth's placement in the universe, there is a decidedly other aspect of our home, of where we are, of actually the meaning of the word here. There is no here. That is why they will have illustrations of the Milky Way from outside the Milky Way, as though we could know such a thing, and they will put a little dot and they will say, we are here, or you are here. But that is not here, that is there. That gives this foreigner type of aspect or view or perspective of our existence and where we are. Our home is not the place. Our home is not the place from where everything was planned. The view from which God even sees things. In the Bible, it says that the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. This was in verse 2, before he placed the lights of the moon and the sun up in the sky. So it was from this earthly perspective where God put these things. His Spirit was here, hovering over the waters. He said, let there be light here on the earth. He created the light before he placed those lights up in the sky. So we know there is a supernatural aspect to the light that is beyond the light that the moon and the stars and the sun give off. That is secondary, and it all goes to that perspective of the significance that the Creator has given us, that He has put eternity in our hearts. As the preacher says in Ecclesiastes, this is something that is very specific to where here is. Here is something that God made a decision about. He made a decision that here on this place, this homeland that He placed us, this is a very specific here. It's not just another place among no specific here that just happens to be there. So life popped up, even if you do believe in creation, but you accept this notion that we are just a tiny little pimple on a vast wilderness of nothingness, dead space and dead matter and nothingness, and we just happen to be over there. I cannot emphasize that enough, that His Spirit was here, and that is the perspective from which He placed everything. He placed the vegetation, and He separated the waters from the waters, and He did everything, and then He threw the stars, the sun and the moon up in the sky. It was from here that He did that, because His heaven is not a physical heaven. His heaven is a spiritual heaven, and He decided to do everything He did close to our home, close to the place where He decided to place us, because if He did it from somewhere else, that would be our home. That's the whole point of the creation, that the creation and the Creator have a similar perspective. So the psalmist says in Psalm 113:3, from the rising of the sun to its going down, the Lord's name is to be praised. This is a very specific perspective. If this was just some random point in the universe that happens to be where things are happening, it wouldn't be saying it like that, because is talking about the significance of this perspective. It's not just our perspective, it's his perspective. Verse 4, the Lord is high above all nations, his glory above the heavens. That means above the skies. These skies, the skies of the earth. If there are these other planets, they have their own skies. Why are they not significant? Because it doesn't mean anything. I know this is a very subtle message, but it's a very strong and powerful message that the mind receives, that, oh, there are other nations on other planets or with other suns and all this, and we just happen to be one of the many. No, the only one is right here on the earth, because that is our perspective, the Creator and ours. Verse 5, who is like the Lord our God, who dwells on high? He's asking questions here. Who is like the Lord our God? That is what they call a rhetorical question. He is not asking so someone would answer. He is asking to make it obvious that there is no one like our God. This one who has this perspective, who gave this perspective to us, because we are made to reflect him, yes, and we are made in his likeness. We have similarities to him. Each of us is an individual. There is no one like us. This one God, who is like no other God, has made us all to be individuals who are not like anyone else, but we share in his likeness in these similarities, including that individuality. He dwells on high. Verse 6, who humbles himself to behold the things that are in the heavens and in the earth. He humbled himself. This is before he came here. The psalmist wrote this. He wrote this before the Lord came here. So he had already humbled himself to behold the things that are in the heavens and in the earth. And that was when he was here hovering over the waters. He humbled himself. He came here to the earth when he created it, and it was without form and void. He came here to set things in order before he even placed us here. He did that. So his perspective is very, very much earthbound. This God, this Creator, this one who is like no other, this one who is the God of the individual.